We are here in a 24,000 square foot home on a 30-acre estate. Jeff is one of the most successful people that you've never heard of, one of the legends in the industry. He's a mentor of people you may have heard of. Patrick Bet-David, he's worked and actually competed with a couple of legends in the industry. Ed Milet in the Max Out podcast. So without further ado, welcome to the F'd Up podcast. So how do you know those guys?
Well, it was interesting. We came up together in our financial services industry and business. We all worked together. I actually mentored Patrick Bet-David for about 7 years. Really good friend. Went to his wedding and many vacations with him. And he was in my organization. I was training and teaching him for years. Mm-hmm. And then Ed Milet was my competition in the same company.
Okay.
And got a lot of great stories there with Ed and watching him become the legend and giant he is today. And then Patrick also with what he's doing. But we grew up together as like young guys, competing and working together, having fun together in the same space. And there were so many great stories. These guys, we all ran together and succeeded together.
I remember you saying even at some point you were at Patrick's wedding. Was that
Yeah. I attended his wedding. His wife Jennifer. I remember when they started dating. Like we were all. This was a close, tight knit group. So and we had fun. And it's great to watch the characteristics of people that win in life. They're all driven. They're all determined. They all keep working on themselves. And believe it or not, they also have good senses of humor. They're fun to be around, and good people.
So we're going to go into an industry that's not so sexy, but we're making it sexy, I like to say. The financial services industry, you're a legend in that industry. I've watched you for 10 years, right? Yep. Patrick came from that industry. Ed Milet came from that industry, the financial services industry. And I want to talk about a little bit. So you at some point had, or you do have 25,000 licensed agents or more, correct?
Yeah, my wife runs that business now, but yeah, 25,000 agents, 250 million a year in profit, tens of thousands of new recruits every year.
And you've generated
into that industry.
You've generated people, multimillionaires, numerous multimillionaires.
Yeah, we had over 500 six-figure earners, over 25 seven-figure earners. This is annual take-home pay, and 2 people over 8 figures. 2 people over 8.
Incredible, awesome. And so I want to talk about the industry itself. Like why would someone like yourself watching want to get into this industry, and specifically the model, right? True financial services, stuff like that. So,
well, if you're asking why someone would want to get into it, I think 2 main reasons. One, there's a lot of money in the industry. It really is attractive. If somebody wants to make a massive income or even a great part-time income, this is the industry to do it in. And it's a tried and tested industry. The financial industry has been around a couple hundred years, and it's been very successful. The other reason is kind of humanitarian, the good it does for society. If someone's out there selling insurance, life insurance, or helping people with their retirement, helping with financial literacy, it's still a big gap in our education system. A lot of people go through school and they grow up and they really never learn how to handle their finances unless they come from a family that's good at that. And most people don't. So it's a challenge. So you could be in an industry that makes a difference for other people and makes a fortune for yourself if you're successful in it.
Awesome. And the vision of the industry. That's something I said in the beginning. You know, when you think insurance, it's not very sexy, right?
No kids grow up going, when I grow up, I want to sell insurance.
Right.
Or when I grow up, I want to, be in financial services. It's just not something people think about in their youth. But then when you get into the business, this model in particular that we're going to talk about today, great minds have used all sorts of other industries that are interesting, that are exciting, that are sexy, and brought and gamified the financial industry. And you probably got some clips you could show from my museum, but there's world championship belts like the UFC has They give those out to the top producers. There's swords you could win. There's Super Bowl rings. I got a whole series of Super Bowl type rings. And there's competition, leader bulletins, how many families you've helped, Lifetime Achievement Awards. And all of a sudden, this thing looks like a sport. And it becomes your sport. It just happens to be, instead of shooting a basketball or throwing a football or kicking a soccer ball, it is how many families did you help? How many young entrepreneurs did you get over a six-figure income? How many people's lives did you change? So it's gotten a lot sexier lately.
I would say so. So I want to talk more about the actual model, right? Explaining how the model works and how it can benefit people, how you can start part-time, full-time, just a little bit of time, but more specifically, right, in detail, how this model works and how you can actually grow a business of your own.
Yeah, Tyler. So look, back in the old days, it was your profession. You did insurance, or you were a stockbroker, you did invest, you were a banker, and that's all you did. Full time, it was your career. There wasn't multi-dimensional. That's it. You had one thing you did. And what this model has been proven and why it's so attractive is, number one, someone could give it a try without putting everything on the line. It's not sink or swim. Somebody could put their toe in and slide on into it if they're good at it and if it's comfortable. And if it's not, nothing ventured, nothing lost. And so for the attraction to the industry in this model is you could do it part-time. You could do it spare time. You could get a financial education along the way, the one that you missed from school. And even if you had to go and get this education from a university, let's say you want to go to night school, community college, or go somewhere, you might spend $10, $20, $50,000 to go get an education in financial services. Well, how about just being affiliated with a financial company in this model part-time and get that education for free? And so that's the attraction. And then there's one other piece to this model, which makes it way more attractive than the traditional model, and that's your ability to introduce other people to the industry, recruit them essentially, and if they become successful, there's a revenue sharing part of that where you can get compensated for basically being a talent scout and finding somebody good in the business, even if you're not that good in the business.
Awesome. And I like to talk about equity in businesses, right? Are there models out there where you can build actual equity in the company? You're building your own division, right, essentially.
Yeah.
But what about the actual company at the top as a whole?
Yeah, so look, the original guy in this industry to create this model was a guy named Art Williams, who's still alive today. He's the legend of legends in this industry. He started the A.L. Williams Company, sold it to Travelers and Citigroup. It became Primerica. And then some of the top guys left there and started World Marketing Alliance and World Finance Group and all these other ones. But then from that spun off and spawned another 20 of these types of companies, because once the model is proven, well, then people want to do it their own way and put their own spin on it. So today, there's a lot of these companies out there. And although a lot of them might look the same on the surface, they're not all created equal. Some actually have ownership and equity you can earn. Some don't. Some claim to have it, and some don't. Some have different payouts than others, and their product offering might vary. Although a lot of people are fishing out of the same pond with their offering to the clients. So, but the model works, and it works really well. And some of the companies have this equity piece, which to me, why would you do anything in life? I mean, I guess when you're new and you're starting in a business, you're just happy to have a job or work for somebody. But when you get wise and self-confident, you realize what you're worth. And when you understand what you're worth, no longer do you want to give it away and trade your time for money. You want ownership. That's where real wealth. You could have a great living off of an income, but ownership is where you create great wealth. So, and some of these companies have ownership opportunities, and I wouldn't want to be part of one that didn't.
Awesome. I agree. Let me ask you this. So there's really two types of people in the world. There's overachievers and underachievers, right? And the underachievers, they can get to that point of overachieving, but they miss out because they don't have the opportunity, right? So can we talk a little bit about that? The people that are working the 9 to 5 grind, that they want more out of life. Why would this business be something that they may want to take a look at?
Yeah. How do you get ahead? I always ask somebody, how much are you making right now? What do you have to do at your job to double your income? And most people say there's no way to do that. Like it's impossible. All the overtime I could put in. Or if I want to get this promotion or that one, I mean, eventually, maybe in the next 10, 20 years, I could get up and double my income. Well, what if just through leveraging contacts you have and people you've met over your life on a referral part-time basis, what if you can send a few people in and double your income that way? And so the attraction there is that 9 to 5, you got to ask yourself, look at people that have been there at your firm or your company 5, 10, 20 years longer than you. Are they happy and are they where you want to be? And if not, what are you going to do about it? You know, some people don't have the luxury of just quitting and trying something else, but what if you didn't have to take your foot off of first to steal second? So what if you could keep your job and let that job fund you building your own business on the side? And that's exactly what this model offers.
Would you say most people come in on a part-time basis?
I would say the majority, yeah. Probably 90% of the people come in on a part-time basis.
And there's been a shift in this industry. It was a lot of in-person, and there's been a shift since.
Yes.
I don't know if I should be saying the word and get it censored because we know how the internet is. But
No, the industry has shifted. Look, it was
Yeah.
kneecap to kneecap. Kitchen table, you're at someone's house at 9 o'clock at night trying to help them with a financial plan or be their financial coach or sell them an insurance policy, whatever it is. And, Zoom, the internet, Teams, whatever tool you use, man, geographically, you're not limited anymore. I mean, you could be anywhere in the city, in other states, just like that. And if you could still eyeball to eyeball look at somebody, you could share documents online. Of course, with some of the stuff, you got to get signatures, wet signatures on some of these, and some not. They take electronic signatures for you to move things. So you could do business. So look, during COVID, so I'm in the industry. I'm doing it the old-fashioned way. COVID hits, everyone shuts down. Well, I was one of these driven people that was limited to 24 hours a day, how many appointments you could fit in a day driving through traffic. And all of a sudden, I could meet people on the hour, every hour, and my business went up by 35% during COVID. I had a 35% increase across the board in all my numbers during COVID because we made the shift to running things digitally on Zoom.
So you're making your time is more usable, I guess the word I'm looking
Leverage.
for. Yeah.
Right? It's just leverage. So now you're using technology to thrust your business forward. And so that's been a game changer. And now in this space, people have offices, virtual offices all over the United States. I mean, at one point I had maybe 600 locations, brick and mortar, physical office spaces around the country. And now you don't need any. I still think it's good to have one so you can get out of the house. You've got young kids at home. Man, I bet you got to get out of the house. But you don't have to. You could sit at home and make yourself hundreds of thousands of dollars from your in-home office now using Zoom.
And let's talk about the upper echelon of people, the high earners that are already there, right? That are looking for more. And you've probably met a handful of them at least over your career, right?
Absolutely.
For someone that is a higher earner, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or millions of dollars a year, why this industry?
Great question, Tyler. I had a billionaire join my business.
Really?
He obviously didn't do it for the money, but here's what happened. Get this, if you're really wealthy out there, we were talking about it earlier, if you've got money and you're successful, you have no shortage of people coming to you wanting money, wanting a loan, wanting a handout, wanting a hand up, wanting some help. And you start to realize, man, you don't want to give a man a fish, you want to teach them to fish. They'll do a lot better if you can give them an opportunity instead of just money. Sometimes you weaken somebody when you give them something they could have gotten for themselves. But what happens here is this guy was tired of people coming to him asking him for money. And he said, well, I got one better for you. I've got a business opportunity for you. And here's the deal. If the people said, oh, no, thanks, I just want the money, well, then they can't come to him anymore because he offered them something and they turned it down.
That's smart.
And if they say yes and he gives them a way to make a lot of money for themselves, well, then he solves his problem too. They don't need to come to him anymore for money. So I started the business when I was 24 years old, single and broke, and I didn't know anybody with money. So I had to grind it out the old-fashioned way, talking to lots of people and trying to find a gem, a needle in a haystack once in a while. But what I found by wealthier, more successful people, here's what they have. Man, do they have a Rolodex. They've got a market. They got a warm market of people that own companies, that own businesses, that are looking for tax strategies. They're looking for, a lot of them already have financial people, but those one or two things that are missing from their portfolio, just from a phone call, maybe while they're playing golf on the golf course, they bring it up and they can help a lot of people and make a whole bunch of money on a total referral basis with their market without lifting a finger. And what I know about wealthy people is they want to leverage their market. And if they can get equity and ownership in something, that's interesting to them too.
All right.
And also help people. So I found a lot of wealthy people, they've got kids that they don't want to totally enable by just giving them money. So these wealthy people get their kids into the business or their friends' kids into the business and give them an opportunity to build a business of their own, become an entrepreneur, make a bunch of money. So that's why the wealthier people would do it.
Talking about starting a business, I'm a business owner myself. You're a business owner yourself. A lot of people want to own a business, but what stops them, from what I've understood, is capital.
Absolutely.
And mentorship, right? Yeah. So I want to go down that road and talk about a little bit about how we've already kind of talked about it, but being able to come into an industry and grow a business and have the resources, not have to drop $100,000 or go get a loan. And then on top of that, who's going to teach you? And in this industry, I've met people like yourself. Yeah. I've met people that are highly, highly successful that have helped me grow. Can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a byproduct of mentorship in the industry. One thing that's interesting is I told a guy once, I called him up, left him a message, and back then you could sign up and at least get the ball rolling. They do a background check and stuff on you when you start, and it was $100 to get in. This was years ago, right? It's not much more expensive now, but I called up a guy once. He owned a construction company. Someone gave me his number and said he might be interested. And I said, hey, give me a call. It only costs $100 to get started. Let me know. And I left him a message. And he called me back. I wasn't available. He left me a message. He said, I was always thinking about the financial industry. I was wanting to start a business in there. And if it's only $100,000, I'm very interested. Give me a call back. And I had to call the guy back and go, it's $100, not $100,000. I mean, he's used to buying equipment for the construction site that costs a couple $100,000 for one piece of equipment. So telling someone it's the cost of some licenses and you got to get a C- on a multiple choice quiz to pick up the license to get paid, it's a no-brainer. Why would you not? People spend thousands of dollars to go to school to get a piece of paper that might not get them anything. But they could spend a few $100, pick up a couple licenses, become part of something like this. But guess what? Ed Milet came out of this. I came out of this. Patrick Bet-David came out of this. There's a lot of huge successful people, and they were mentored, and they've become mentors. And my greatest success isn't what I earned. It's all the people that I mentored along the way and poured into along the way. And that's part of the deal, and it comes free of charge. We've all spent a ton of money to go to seminars. We'll spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to be part of a roundtable group and learn how to become wealthy. All these places, it comes with the program. You get the mentorship from people that have been there and done it. And I competed against Ed Milet in the business, and then we mentored each other, but he ended up, he's gotten really big, but all the stuff that he's charging the world for, which they should pay for, I got for free my whole life. All the things that Patrick is teaching people. Now he's come a long way since back when I was mentoring him. Now he's mentoring the world. But man, that was free. He gave it for free to the people in his company. So imagine all this stuff out there. You can get access to some of the best trainers, mentors, wealthy, successful people that have been there and done it for free as part of being part of one of these companies.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, man. This has been awesome. Seriously. Where can they find you if they want to learn more about you? Where can everybody find you?
Yeah, Jeff Levitan, Levitan. You can Google it. Find me on Instagram. I'm not huge on social media because I'm not trying to be, but I got some stuff out there. You can look up some good YouTube videos of me. I'm the, like you said, what did you call me? I'm the most successful, famous person you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And I don't
One of
mind it
them.
being that way right now. I've got 6 kids at home. I got a big charity, All for One. I help orphans and all over the world. I build schools, clinics. That's my jam right now in my life. Is I'm in the give back stage now. So, but yeah, you could find me anywhere. We're friends now,
Awesome.
and so I'm looking forward to just being part of your team and network of what you're doing.
Awesome. Thank you. And if you guys want to hear more about what we're doing, if this is something you say, you know what, that sounded intriguing, go to iamlegacy1.com, or you can message me on whatever platform that you are watching this, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you know where to find me. So with that said, I appreciate, that was awesome. And
All right.
All right. Thank you guys. We'll see you again.